Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. That's right, we're finally back. In fact, I think this is the first video technically gone in to next season. So, I mean, that was a mess, alright. You can tell I've not had much practice recently because I don't know what that intro was. But we're here to look into the future. Speaking about something happened the day. Oh, I'm getting worse, man. But honestly, we are here to talk about the latest extension at this football club. Not only are we here to react to, of course, Steven Davis signing on for another year, we're of course going to be looking at the summer rebuild, what other extensions should be happening, because let's not beat around the bush here, ladies and gentlemen. We know I'm happy with one of the contract extensions that's happened so far, Scotty Arfield and Steven Davis. Can you guess which one I think is actually going to be a benefit for this team? But we're going to discuss all that, who else should be contracted this time, look at the other contracts that's actually expired on today's video. So strap yourselves in, let's talk about Rangers and let's talk about next season. But before we do get to my worry slash fear slash nippy bum time rebuild, which will be of course this summer's transfer window, I do want to talk about the latest contract extension at the football club, because of course Steven Davis has signed on for one more freaking year. That's right, like Ric Flair. He's never frickin' retiring. Nah. He will continue to play for club and country until football no longer exists. And for me, I'll be honest, I'm absolutely delighted with seeing Steven Davis being at the football club for one more year, and hopefully you let me finish everything I need to say before you shout at me for either way I'm going to go on this, because this one makes a lot of sense for me. It makes me a lot happier than the previous contract extension, which for Scotty Arfield left me completely baffled to an extent. But for me, Steven Davis, when you look at it just off the field first, I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense, because what we're doing right now, we have a lot of talented youngsters coming into this team, the Alex Lowrys, the frickin' Steven Davis, Regen and Charlie McCannon. Who better to learn from and who else to model your game after than Steven Davis, both on and off the park? The guy's never been in trouble, he's never done nothing, he's only been an out and out role model for everybody who loves football in its sense. Not the fancy Instagram posts and all the money and all that, just the guys who loves to watch football. You really appreciate a guy like Steven Davis, and just look at the career that he's had. He's done it in England, he's done it up here, he's done it in the international stage. I mean, the records he holds, the UK cap holder and everything like that. He's such an incredible role model both on and off the park. For me, it ticks a massive box, and I hope all the youngsters look up to that laddie and try and emulate what he's done in his career. But again, I'm not surprising anyone or anything like that by mentioning that everyone knows what Steven Davis has done and how important he could be off the field. I imagine that'll be one of the things we all agree on. Off the park, he will be a boost for this team. But I actually think it has something to offer us on the park as well. And listen, I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. If you look at our downfall of the season, when we threw the league away with stupid points, hectic games, getting bullied, losing control in matches and just firing points right out the frickin' window. Look at it, at the season. Who wasn't amongst the team? Who wasn't anywhere near the squad? It perfectly coincided with Steven Davis being out in the wilderness with his injury and making his way back in to Geo squad. So for me, it's no surprise that our worst period of the season, where we just looked lost and had no control of the middle of the park or anywhere on the park, is when Steven Davis wasn't actually there. Now again, I'm not saying he's the sole reason, and if Steven Davis was there, we'd have won the league, blah blah blah, but I'm just saying there was games and there was periods in games where you looked and says, we have got none, and you're looking at the bench and it was like, he won't add what we need, he won't be able to do what we do. We need somebody to come in and control and just slow the game frickin' down and get us away with these points, and just slow the game down and stop the momentum of the other team. And we just never had a player like Steven Davis. So for me, it played its part in that. And I think when you, especially over the last couple of weeks, last months of our season, whenever Steven Davis came on the park, you went, he's still got a lot to offer us on the park as well, because no one in our team, no matter who our favourites are, can do what he can do, and that's just orchestrate the entire flow of a game. Now again, I've got a lot of high hopes for the likes of Charlie McCann and everything to come into the future and hopefully potentially do that. But again, he's able to now spend another year learning from the very best, and that will be a benefit for our team both on and off the park. So taking all that into consideration, it is a thumbs up for me on both fronts for Rangers Football Club, and this contract extension again makes complete and utter sense. What about you? How do you feel about the contract extension for Steven Davis? Again, I'm not expecting him to play 56 matches next season, but I'm expecting him to have a role in the team in games when we need to just calm it down, to come on the park and get us the frickin' line. So let me know how you're feeling about Stephen Davis, because we're going to start spinning it now and start spinning those plates and talk about other contract extensions still to potentially happen at the football club. Again, I know I mentioned Scotty Arfield earlier on. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. I love the boy in that as well, and I know he scored that goal versus Celtic and that, but for every goal like that, there's 27 other ones he's hit right down the middle in big games and big moments. And for me, he's another player like the next guy we're talking about who is unfortunately on the decline. And I hate to say it, but there's no point in me sitting here BSing you and just cheerleading every single thing, because what's the point in that? You know what I mean? I'll tell you who I think very, very happy with Stephen Davis' contract extension. Can see what he can offer us next year. Disappointed in the contract extension for Scotty Arfield. And the next guy, if you're already not annoyed at me yet, you're going to be very, very annoyed at me, because there is some lingering words that there will be another contract extension soon for the man known as Alan McGregor. That's right, there is some rumblings of a potential contract extension, and again, I'm going to annoy everybody, but for me, I didn't think that's the way we should go this season. Now, I know he's an absolute icon of this club, and he's one of the best ever goalkeepers. For me, he's very, very close to the one and only Andy Gorham, who, by the way, before we continue on, I just want to send my absolute best to him and his family in this horrible, horrible fight and everything. You've all seen the news and everything, and again, I never feel confident, or I never feel like I should be mentioning these things in videos now, because who am I to ever talk about anything? But the man's obviously fighting, and it's been obviously announced as being terminal. He's cancer, so just best wishes to him and his family. He's going to need everybody around them right now, and he was the best of the very best. But again, Alan McGregor, for my generation especially, is right up there in all attributes. Again, not quite Gorham, because for me he's untouchable, but he's up there, and that's in credit to him. Just to be even close, to be even in a conversation, shows you how good Alan McGregor has actually been for this football club. But again, we can't just keep glancing back to the past and thinking about 5 or 6 saves in a season, because last season for me, he was poor. He wasn't a fantastic. I know Alan Hutton and Kenny Miller was saying how great he was and had another fantastic year, but I didn't agree with that. He had some great moments and great saves, but I can point to another 10, 15 yins where, again, he probably should have done better, and it was starting to go in. I'm not going to sit here and rip into an absolute legend of this football club, but for me, again, he's on that decline. He's never going to get better. You know, when 2 seasons ago he was absolutely untouchable and he probably should have went out, but he wants to go out on his sword, obviously, and that for me is this season. If we continue and we give him another year and we try it again, it's only going to get worse, and I didn't want to see an absolute hero where we've got so many good memories make another season where it continues to go down. I didn't want a Muhammad Ali versus Larry Holmes style season. Do you know what I mean by that? I mean, I'm pretty sure only 3 people will get that reference, but if you did, you know exactly how I feel. I love the guy. I want him to leave now. We're having his celebrations, lifting that Scottish Cup, getting that ovation for the fans. That's storybook there, people. Let's send it there. His last ever start for the football club was a European final. Let's close the book now and move forward, no continue to move back. But I do feel everything I've just said there's going to be very, very awkward when it does get announced for a contract extension. But I just wanted to let you know my thoughts and opinions. Again, if he does sign and if he does come back in the team, whether he is the starter or number 2, I'll be celebrating and I'll be hoping and I'll be singing songs and everything like that. But again, I just feel like the football club needs to be moving in that direction. I mean, we can't stand still. We go back to the top of the mountain. We had a summer where we kind of stood still, and that's why we ended up getting leapfrogged last year. And I don't think we should be doing it again, in my opinion. But whether or not he signs, that remains to be seen. But for me, it'd be more on the Scotty Arfield side of things with that one, where I don't think the contract extension should happen. But there is someone that I do think should be given a contract extension, and that is, of course, Mr. Leon Balogun, who I know, I never actually knew he split the fan base as much. My eyes itchy, by the way. I know that's terrible YouTube etiquette or anything like that, but we roll right here on the channel. I never knew opinion was so split on Balogun until this summer, where the conversations came up about an extension, because to me, I can count his poor performances in one hand, and that's a credit to the man himself. And for me, I've just got the brain like Davy Weir. You know what I mean? Keep giving him years, because when he comes on that part, 9 times out of 10, he puts out a performance, and for me, that's going to be needed, especially this summer when Connor Goldson looks to actually be gone. And again, we'll touch on that in a minute or two. But if Connor Goldson goes, that is 60 games a season at centre half gone. You've seen how we've had to mix and match with the consistency of Goldson there just on the left centre-back spot. Well, now we've got the left centre-back and the right centre-back spot to actually juggle with, and that leaves me very, very nervous. And again, we could potentially bring in people in the summer and everything like that, but I can't speculate on that just yet. I want to just talk about, for me, it makes a hell of a lot of sense to bring Balogun back in, because again, he's not going to play 60 games a season, but you know, when he does come in, he's going to perform, and that takes away that question mark on whether or not he'll adjust to this league. When he plays well for the badge, and let's be honest with you, he's been playing his entire Rangers career so far out of position. He's usually a right centre half, so we might just see him played in his preferred position, and again, he might just be able to take that step up. But even in saying that, that's just one name. Oh, my chicken's ready. 1 second. Sorry, troops. It's the off-season, you know what I mean? Play the game. Where was it? Oh, aye. Leon Balogun has to come in to the football club, especially when we have that question mark about a John Souttar, Hollander, and everything like that. And again, touch wood that John Souttar stays injury-free next season, but there's been nothing in their career so far when you look at your centre-backs depth list to say that they can play 3 times a week and go ahead and play 50, 60 games a season. He wants to stay. He's been very vocal at it. We know he can perform. We know when he comes into the football team as well, he's a massive asset, especially from corners and set pieces and everything. So it just makes too much sense not to go, especially when he's been so publicly that he actually wants to stay. So for me, Balogun is a yes. What about you? And whilst we're actually talking about centre-halves and everything like that, before we get to Connor Goldson, who will obviously be the headline act where a lot of our conversations will be, we obviously have the curious case of Big Katic as well, who some may have forgotten about, but I certainly haven't, and I've been keeping an eye on him out in the Croatian League, where again, it wasn't a perfect loan or anything like that, but after a slow start, he did grow in it, and after such a serious injury, it was probably always going to be that type of thing. But he's big, he's physical, he's still got that pace, he can still headbutt a brick wall if you ask him to. So there will be that question, what do we do with Katic? Do we give him an opportunity? Do we welcome him back? Now, on paper, for me, does he fit what Giovanni wants from his centre-halves, especially if we're going to be performing more as a free? Maybe not necessarily, and it doesn't seem like a perfect fit, but until he's been given an opportunity to actually perform in it, can we really judge him too soon? So I'd love to know what your thoughts and opinions are on Katic. Do you see him being here next season? I'd love it, but again, I'm doubtful. Speaking of doubtful, that leads us to the headline act himself, Mr. Connor Goldson. And again, this feels to me like this will he, won't he is almost like what people in the late 90s felt watching Friends, waiting for Ross and Rachel to actually get together. You know what I mean? We keep tuning in every frickin' day to find out, but we haven't got a clue. But we obviously know this period right here is the last season, so we're gonna get our answers. Will he or won't he? We'll find out very soon. Now again, in my heart, if I got to choose or anything like that, I am 100% picking Connor Goldson must stay. Availability, playing 60 games a season. You take that out our team right now, there's a lot of question marks on who will be able to step in and perform, especially with the injury records and everything we have at the football club. And again, touch wood that no one has an injury or anything. But if you're looking at stats and statistics, it is very, very nervous as we currently record today's video before we potentially sign anyone or anything like that. So for me, in a perfect world, I'd be giving the money to the terms of maybe a McGregor extension act to our boy Connor Goldson and keeping him at the football club. But where that's my heart saying that, if I'm using my head, I think he's gone in every single aspect of the world. And again, people can point at this or point at that or anything, but I'm not going to sit here and speculate on does his family want to move south or anything. That's not what I'm here today. If he does leave the football club, he done exactly what he said when he signed on the dotted line. He made sure he was available for every single game possible. He's played over 223 times in 4 seasons. That's absurd. People, go ahead and look at some of your favourite Rangers players that's ever played here. Isn't he close to the amount of games that he's put? And they've been here a lot longer, double the time, even longer than that. It's frightening, the availability and reliability in terms of being able to go out there and perform. Even me, Knox and everything, we heard about his heel with one of the Celtic games. He was in pain, he played through whatever he could to actually get on the park and play for us. And that's what we'll remember. I know the mistake in the Europa League final is still fresh in everyone's mind and some people will never get over it. But for me, how did we get in the final? He pocketed one of the best European forwards there is, going about football the day. So I think it'd be harsh to remember him for that. when, again, the only reason we took the lead in the game was from a centre-back making a mistake. And do you think that's going to be... Do you think the fans in that team that bet us is actually going to hold that against him? No, I didn't think so. So, again, that's my feelings on Connor Goldson. I think he performed exactly... He done everything we could have asked for when he signed on the dotted line, when we had the likes, say... Remember Russell Martin, Bruno Alves, God love him, I know he's a very good player and that, but he was at his end of his time. We had Rob Kearn and Danny Wilson to talk for all that to where Connor Goldson took us for the next four years, is night and day in my opinion. But again, I do think he will be moving on. But if it was up to you, would you be wanting Connor Goldson to sign a contract extension, or do you think we need to move out and get someone else? That's all I'm really here to talk about. Again, we could speculate on what do we need in the summer and where we need to strengthen, but that's for a future video. All we're here to talk about today is contract extensions and who needs to stay as we get closer and closer. In fact, we're now 30 days out for a lot of these players' contracts to actually be expired. So that's the boys' contracts that's expiring in less than 30 days. What's your thoughts and opinions on it? How many need to stay? Again, even if you want Alan McGregor to stay, say it in the comments. It doesn't matter what I say. People call me a fan, Dan, and tell me why he needs to sign it for, because it's never about my opinion here. It's always about the conversation, and that is the Rangers conversation today. As always, I can't wait to see what your thoughts and opinions are. I've been Siege over 2. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.